Hey guys, this is Mr. Grice for Algebra 2, Unit 1.1, 1.4 review. Remember to show every step and write your answers on the line. So it says for the first four, use the functions to find the following. So we've got one equation of g of x and another function of f of x. So number one says find f of -5. Well, what that means is I have to take the function f, and I'm going to plug in -5, and we're going to go x squared minus 6x plus 8, okay? And everywhere there's an x, we're going to plug in -5, okay? And now we simplify, okay? So -5 squared would be what? Well, remember that's -5 times -5, so that's 25. So I have 25 minus 6 times -5 plus 8. So after I take care of exponents, I need to take care of multiplication, and that's -6 times -5. Good, positive 30. Okay, and from here you can just add everything up. 25 plus 30 is 55, and 55 plus 8 is 63. So we get our final answer of 63. Now, if it asks you to write it in function notation, we would say f of -5 equals 63. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing with g. G of -6 equals 2/3 times -6 plus 6. And we're plugging in -6. Okay. Now remember, if you're not too good with the fractions, just use your calculator. 2/3 times -6, and that gives us -4. So I have -4 plus 6. What's -4 plus 6? Oh, come on, you know it. Good, it should be 2. Okay, so there it is in function notation, but then also just my answer of 2. Okay, so now it's saying find the value of x. Okay, so I don't know what x is, but I want to know what x is when it equals 14. So that's when we solve. We're going to set the 14 equal to our function g of x, and g of x was at 2/3 x plus 6. So now we're going to solve for x. So when I'm solving, I'm following the rules of SADMAP, which means I'm going to subtract first. 14 minus 6 is 8. And then to get the x by itself, we have to multiply by the reciprocal. And what I do to one side, I have to do to the other. And we're doing 3/2 times 8. And we get 12. So I know that 12 equals x. All right, number 4, we're doing the same thing because it's saying find the value of x. I don't know what x is. So I'm going to set 0 equal to 2/3 x plus 6. And then all we do is solve. Okay? Following the rules of SADMAP, I'm going to subtract 6 to both sides. I get -6 equals 2/3 x. And then we have to multiply by the reciprocal. The reciprocal. Okay? So I have 3/2 times -6. And we get -9. Oh. Okay. So that's the first 4. Now the next. Oh, looks like it printed all funny. Oh well. So It says to find the requested information by using the following graphs. Okay, so we've got two graphs below, and we just got to solve them. So find the value of f of 2. So f of 2, they're telling me the x. So when x is positive 2, what's my answer? Okay, so I'm going to go to positive 2, and I'm just going to draw my vertical line, because that's what we were told to do. And I need to look to where it's a point, okay, where it crosses the line, and it's right there. And that is the point 2, 1. Okay, so what that tells me is when f, f of 2, my answer would be a positive 1. Okay, so remember, if the f of x is our x, this is our y. So what happens when y is 4? So that's going to be my vertical line. And if you notice, it crosses not just once, it crosses twice. So those 2 points would be negative 1, 4 and 1, 4. So I know the, I know the y, so I need to know the x, and the x would be negative 1 and 1. Okay, 6. Find the value of g of 1, and then find the value of x when g of x equals 1. So I'm going to pause the video and see if you guys can do those ones on your own. Good luck. Okay, so of g of 1, when x equals 1, I got the point, I'm sorry, not 2, 1, 2, 2. Mr. Grice is kind of confused this morning. That was 1, 2, Mr. Grice. Okay, and then when y is 1, I got that x was 0. Okay. Number 7. Find the average rate of change for the function graphed below for the interval negative 1, 2. So the key thing for this is to remember that this is not a point, that these are what? Yeah, these are x values. Okay, so at negative 1, when x is negative 1, I look like I am right there. And that is the point negative 1, 3. Okay, now my other point that it's asking me about is when x is 2. So when x is 2, I'm right there. And that is the point 2, negative 3. Okay, so it wants my average rate of change. So I need to pay attention to how many I go down, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I went down 6. We were calling that our change in y, delta y, and delta x. Okay, so we went down 6, and then to the right we go 1, 2, 3. So negative 6 divided by 3 would be negative 2. Right, and then for 8, we're doing the same thing except there's no graph, so we have to do it by hand. We gotta be like, all right, so what's our change in y over change in x? And remember, that's when we were using the slope formula, okay? But we need 2 points. Well, I have 2 points. 1, 2. So my first point is 2 comma 8, and then our second point is 3 comma negative 1. So the y's go on top. Negative 1 minus 8 is negative 9. And then our x's go on bottom. 3 minus 2 is 1. And then negative 9 divided by 1 is negative 9. Okay, let's go ahead and flip it over. So it's to graph the following lines. All right, do you have your straight edge? I do. So remember that we need to put these in slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. So I got y plus 2. And then we need to distribute, okay? So we get negative 5 over 4x, and then negative 5 over 4 times negative 4. You can use your calculator. So negative 5 divided by 4 times negative 4 equals, cool, positive 5. Okay, and then we're going to subtract 2 to both sides, and we get y equals negative 5 over 4x plus 3. So the things that we need is we need our slope, which is negative 5 over 4, and then our y-intercept of 0, 3. Okay, so we're going to start at 0, 3. And I'm going to go down 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I'm going to go in both directions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over 4. Okay, and now that I have that, I can go ahead and graph. Line up all of my points. And then graph my line. I have a negative slope, and my graph from left to right is falling, just like we said. Okay, and just remember that we went down 5 and to the right 4. Okay, number 10. Same thing. You got to solve for y. Okay, get that y by itself. So I'm going to add the 6x to the other side. And we get negative 21y equals 6x minus 42. And then to get to the y by itself, I have to divide by negative 21. So we get y equals, do you know that one? 6 divided by negative 21. Oh yeah, negative 2.857. I can graph that. Remember, change it to a fraction, guys. Okay, so it's negative 2 over 7 x. And then we have, some of you might know this right away, but negative 42 divided by negative 21, we get positive 2. Okay, so our slope is negative 2 over 7, which means I go down 2 and to the right 7. And then our y-intercept is 0, 2. Okay, so it's 0, 2 I start. I go down 2 over 7, and that's the only point I can go to the right. And so to the left, I go up 2 to the left 7, and then we're going to graph. Okay, so use your straight edge, your ID, a ruler. Don't use a calculator. Calculators are normally curved. And there we go. And number, hey, look, number 11's already set for us. Awesome. So my slope is 4 over 1, which means it's a positive 4 to the right 1. And then our y-intercept is 0, negative 7. Okay, and that's all we need to graph. So I'm starting at negative 7 down here, and I'm going 1, 2, 3, 4 over 1. 1, 2, 3, 4 over 1. 1, 2, 3, up. 1, 2, 3, 4 over 1. 4 over 1. Okay, do as many points as you can, and then use the straight edge. And make sure to add your arrows. Excuse me. Okay. Hey, we're almost done. We're getting there. All right. So write the equation of the line with the following characteristics. So remember, on one of our notes, we talked about the different things we need to do. And when we've got 2 points, the first thing I need is the slope. So figuring out the slope, 10 minus -4 turns into 10 plus 4, which is 14. Okay, on the bottom, I have 3 minus 2. 3 minus 2 is 1. And 14 divided by 14, or 14 divided by 1, we get 14. Okay, so now that I know that, I can go ahead and do point slope. I know that my slope is 14, and you get to pick which one you want. Okay, I'm just going to do the one with, I'm just going to do the first point, 2, -4. Okay, remember what your x and what your y is. That turns to a +4 and y -2. Okay, so I have y plus 4 equals 14x minus 14 times 2 is 28. Okay, and then subtract the 4 to both sides. So y equals 14x. -28 minus 4 is, that's right, -32. So y equals, oh, not -14x, Mr. Grice, 14x minus 32. Okay, once again, it's asking us for, to do the slope. Sorry, mind fart. Okay, so my x's, I've got, or my y's, sorry, -2 minus 5, which change, minus negative, which turns to a plus, and -2 plus 5 is 3. I have 0 minus 2. 0 minus 2 is -2. So my slope is -3/2. Now I would go into point slope, but right here, this is my y-intercept. So I don't have to go into point slope because I can go straight into my equation. So I know that y equals -3/2x because -3/2 is my slope, and then -2 because that's my y-intercept. If you didn't recognize that, you would need to go into point slope. Okay, so I have a point. So I got to do something through 10, -7 and parallel to y equals 1/5 x minus 9. So parallel, remember, I get to steal my slope. That's what we were talking about yesterday. Okay, and then I'm going to go into point slope to solve it. So I know my slope is 1/5, and then this turns to a +7 and -10. Okay, go ahead and pause the video and see if you can solve it on your own. Okay, and you should get y equals 1/5 x minus 9. Okay. Now, once again, we've got a point. I see a keyword of perpendicular, but I don't know what my slope is. Okay, so I have to take that 2x minus 3y equals 6, and I have to solve for y. Okay, so I'm going to subtract the 2x to the other side. I've got -3y equals -2, whoops, what am I writing? -2x plus 6, and divide by -3. So a negative divided by negative would make that a positive 2/3 x, and 6 divided by -3 is -2. So here's the slope that I'm going to steal. So the current slope is 2/3, but I need the opposite reciprocal. So -3/2 is what I need. So now that I know what that is, I can go into my point slope, and I'm not even going to fill this in, guys. You got to do it on your own. Okay? Pause the video and solve. Good luck. Okay, remember, guys, it's okay if you have a fraction as your y-intercept. Okay? Because when you distributed the -3/2 times -3, you should have gotten 9/2. Subtract 8, and then you get -7/2. Okay? So -7/2. All right. So it says to write the equation of a line, then circle any other equation that also represents the line in the graph. Okay, so we need to know what the equation is. Right away, I'm looking at my y-intercept, which is 0, -1, and then my slope from here to here is down 1/2. So our slope is -1/2. So if I were to write that equation, it would be y equals -1/2x minus 1. Okay, so what you have to do now is solve A, B, C, D, and E to see which ones match 16 or match what we just wrote. Okay, and guess what? You know it's not E right away because it has the wrong slope. Okay, so you need to solve A, B, C, and D. Go ahead and pause that video and good luck. Okay, and then going through this, oh, guys, I didn't realize that F got cut off. There's F right here. And F was also y equals -1/2 x minus 1. And guess what? So we had 3 answers of A, B, and F after you solved it. There's all of my work. Okay. Now, if you guys have any questions, please come see Miss Carranza or myself to help you out. You know we would love to do it because after this, there is your quiz. Okay? So this is Mr. Grice signing off for Algebra 2, Unit 1.1, 1.4 review. Thanks for watching, and good luck on your quiz.